We got a lot of work to do. Let's get started.
My name is Bryce Parker. A year ago, I got fired from my job 3 weeks before we had our beautiful baby girl. I had a decision to make: give up or make things work. I wanted to start this channel to show you that the American dream is still possible. Me and my wife own 2 small businesses, and we are building our dream home. Starting from nothing, thinking the world was crumbling around us, but making the best life possible out of it. I'm Bryce.
And I'm JC.
This is our beautiful daughter Paisley,
and we are the Parkers.
Okay guys, big day today. There is a bunch of guys here laying block. So we've got this hose run out for them to have water. They've got sand for masonry sand for their mix. And they are putting block in the ground as we speak. Just to give you guys an understanding of how it's going to be, like where our slab line is going to be at. These blocks here have a little L cut out of them. So when I come in to fill the foundation, I will fill the foundation to this line right here, the bottom of this block. So these are 8-inch blocks total. So cut them in half, that leaves 4 inches from the bottom of the L to the top of the L. I believe these are called header block. So I'll come in, I'll bring my dirt line to the bottom of the header block, and then plumbers will come in, they'll dig everything that they need to dig out. And then when the concrete guys come back in, that last 4 inches of that block will be solid concrete all the way across the house. So we'll pull string lines, and I'll show you guys more of that process when we get there. But all in all, things are going really fast. You know, they said they're gonna have this house up, at least the stem wall up, in a couple hours. So hopefully inspection will be here either later today or tomorrow morning, and I'll be able to start filling the foundation on Friday. So, all right guys, we're rocking right into action. Got dump trucks delivering fill dirt this morning. All right, there goes truck number 2. I rolled up a little late this morning, so I got here right as soon as they started dumping. I wanted to kind of get here and talk with you guys for a minute, but hey, sometimes things don't happen the way we plan them, right? So anyways, today's a big day. Passed the stem wall inspection yesterday with flying colors. The guy said everything looked amazing. The first thing that these guys look for when they roll up are these rebar caps. These are basically to make sure if you fall over, or if one of the workers falls over, they don't gash their eyeballs out or get impaled on a piece of rebar. If he rolls up, if your inspector rolls up and sees that you don't have rebar caps on all of your rebar, instantly he's not even going to do anything. He's just going to send it back in and say, hey, you failed inspection. This is what you failed for. Even if everything else is perfect, these caps, they are sticklers about these caps. So make sure you do it. In fact, I borrowed some from a friend just to make sure we pass inspection, because we cannot get held up on this house. We waited 1.5 years for this, and if we wait any longer, I'm pretty sure my wife will murder me. Today, we're going to be filling the foundation. And for those of you who have never, ever seen anything or done anything with foundation fill, I do this part for a living. I know this for a fact. Everything that I'm doing, I know this for a fact. So, in a house, you're only able to go 16 inches up, compact the dirt, and then it has to be tested. We have 1, 2, 3 courses we're gonna do. So I'm gonna run around on the inside of the house, and everywhere I go, I'm gonna spray paint this mortar joint. That way I don't overfill in some areas. And then we'll call in a compaction test, and then we'll go from there. So I'll spread this dirt out, I'll get it up to this line, I'll bring the roller in, I'll roll it, and then we'll have to wait until Monday for the compaction test to get done. As soon as they tell me I passed, we can bring in the next lift of dirt, which will be from here to here. So you have your header block here. All my dirt is going to come up to this height. This last 4 inches is what is going to be filled with concrete across the whole house. So everything from here all the way up to here is going to get filled with dirt. Last 4 inches will be concrete. It's going to happen not only on the inside but the outside of the house. So if we come around here to the outside, we can see that there's quite a bit of courses exposed. This is not bulletproof by any means. When you're filling a foundation, you have to be very careful about too much weight on the outside edge, too much weight pushing on these walls with nothing on the outside pushing back in. I'm gonna have to go around on the outside, and as I fill up the inside, I'm gonna have to come around on the outside, kind of just match that height going all the way up. If I don't, you run the risk of one of these walls blowing out, because these are not poured solid with concrete. They're mortared together, but you'll be very surprised to see how easily this is knocked out and taken down. I have blown out a lot of walls, especially in the beginning when I was learning. You get too close, you turn, the weight from your machine turning ends up blowing a wall out. You scoop towards the wall with a bucket of dirt, and then the dirt that's on the other side of your bucket that you're just kind of pushing pushes the wall out, all kind of stuff. Take it from me, you want to be very, very careful around these edges. So we got a lot of work to do. Let's get started. All right guys, next round of trucks is already getting here, as you can see. I just kind of wanted to walk you guys through where I'm at now and kind of what my thought process is. So you guys know I went around, painted these lines. I'm getting it as close as I can. I told you guys I was gonna have to bring dirt on the outside. So I have been doing that slowly but surely, filling up the outside as well as putting dirt on the inside. But there is one place where it is going to drop. This is my garage, and my garage is going to be starting up here. So this is kind of laundry room area in here. And this is the garage. So as you can see, I'm at my starting point where the rest of the house is gonna be at, right? I'm gonna put 4 inches of fall in this block. So if we are at the top of the 3rd mortar joint, that means because these blocks are 8 inches, I'm gonna go halfway down this block. So by the time I get from this point to that point, my dirt should be slowly falling, and the grade should be 4 inches difference from that point there to this point here. This is where our normal mark would be. About halfway down the block is where my paint line is going to be at. We do that obviously because we have water, and water follows gravity. If you have fall, you'll never have water issues. Where I had all this block stacked, the grade is slowly falling this way, and really not slowly, it's pretty good. So I'm actually going to have to take quite a bit of dirt from this area right here. Anyways, just an update. Wanted to give you guys an update on where I was in the house. Quite honestly, we should be done filling the foundation here in just a little bit. So back to the grind. All right guys, last load of dirt is being delivered. You can see the dump truck down the road. I have had, I think 12 or 13 loads delivered today. I had 10 inside the house. I've got one here that I'm gonna use for the back porch, and then they had a load of sand that they needed to get rid of. I'm gonna need sand anyways, because we have a lot of drainage issues. For our second lift, I'm gonna be using sand as well to make sure the plumbers and the guys who are filling in the foundation after the plumbers come in don't have to dig through this hard clay. All the paint lines that were marked are pretty much covered up. Again, at this stage, it doesn't have to be exact. Now, the next lift that we do has to be on point. It cannot be off, because if you're short, then your slab's not thick enough. You're gonna have really bad cracking issues and structural issues. If you're too deep, you're gonna be paying out the yin-yang for concrete. So best thing to do is get as close as you can, but we're not at that level yet. So as you can see, I am at the point now where I'm ready to compact. So that big roller over there is going to come through here. We're gonna roll this, and then I'm gonna what's called plate compact the edges, because that big roller will blow these walls out if I'm not careful. I'm gonna plate compact these edges. As you can see, there's a big drop off right here for the garage. It's gonna stay that way until I figure out the exact height of what we're gonna need for the garage, but let's get to compacting. We are packed with the roller. Now comes the fun part, the part that I hate to do, and that is rake down these edges and use this plate compactor to compact the rest of it. So you guys saw the size of the roller. This is the plate compactor. This is smaller, but still does the job on the edges. So you guys can see I stayed off the edge. In most areas I stayed off the edge about 2 to 3, maybe 4 feet. But I got to go around, I got to rake all these edges in, and then I got to bring that plate compactor in here, and I got to compact everywhere in the corners that roller didn't get. So I'm gonna kind of have to smooth some of this stuff out over here a little bit better, and then come back on top of it. I have to push dirt down into the corners. These corners are the hardest thing about these foundations to try not to bust out and get overzealous with. A lot of times people try to push dirt in there with the machine and it ends up just blowing the whole wall out. So I like to put dirt there, I'll shovel it in, and then from there, I'll bring the plate compactor back on top of it and we'll rock through the rest of it. So here we go. Alright guys, good news. We just had a compaction test, and so basically what happens is the geotech will come out, they take a pin first and they beat it down into the ground, into your foundation, in order to make the rod for the x-ray machine be able to go down into your foundation easier. And that is this hole right here. So he beats that down into the ground, and then he sets his x-ray machine on top of it, slides the pin down, and that gives you a reading. And then that machine calibrates your density, and it tells you how much moisture's in the foundation fill dirt and a bunch of stuff. And then he pulls it out and lets you know if you passed or not. So with that, he said that the numbers he saw were pretty good to go. We were going to pass compaction. He did take a couple samples to Proctor. I had 2 different kinds of dirt dropped. The first dirt layer that I have in the house is a little bit cheaper because it's a base layer, it's just kind of a fill layer, and on top, that pile of orange sand over there is going to be my top layer to make it easier for plumbers and the people who are preparing your slab to dig through. Pro tip, not to make your subcontractors pissed off as they're prepping the slab, and plumbers if they have to dig it. It's not fun to dig in straight clay. So the top like 10 to 14 inches are going to be sand. It's going to make it easier. It's going to be good. This is good fill dirt anyways, but this stuff is like $300 a load, whereas the stuff that I have in here now is about $250. So rocking and rolling. He told me that the Proctors look good from what he saw in the numbers just based on the machine. He has to proctor at the house, but he said unless something crazy comes back, which he did not see happening, we should be good to go. So that means we're on to the next step of the foundation. That notch is going to be filled with concrete. So that means the rest of this house is going to have to get filled up until you get to this little 4-inch notch. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the rest of the dirt in. I'm going to fill it all. And then I'm going to pull a string line. I'm going to bring a string line from this block, run it all the way across the house, drop it on that side, and I'll run through with a tape measure, and I will check under the string to see what that looks like measurement wise. Basically all I'm doing there is ensuring that I have a level foundation and I bring in the exact amount of concrete that I need, not a whole lot more and definitely nothing less. The last thing I want to be doing is spending extra money on concrete. So you go through, you check, make sure you're good to go. It's better to be thicker. It's not as good, and definitely not at all I would recommend going any thinner than 4 inches. I am gonna head home and take a shower because as you can tell, I am dirty, nasty, and my wife does not like me dirty and nasty. So, all right you guys, we are rocking early on a Monday morning. As you can see behind me, got the concrete truck here. The guys are here filling the stem wall. So I'm gonna show you guys real quick just what they're doing. They got a skid steer in here, they got a bucket. You can see They fill the bucket up with concrete. They fill all these cells. So as we go through this house today, they're gonna come through here. They're gonna fill each one of these cells, these dowels that have rebar in them. They're gonna be filling them with concrete. It just helps. It helps with the foundation. It helps tie everything together. Basically what's gonna happen is when we go to run the rest of the block up, you guys see this rebar, this will extend all the way up to what's called the lintel, which is the top layer all the way around the top of the house. They'll pour everything that has rebar in it solid. So that means the footer is tied to this rebar here. The rebar is tied to the next section of rebar going up to the roof. That's poured solid. And then the entire lintel across the top of the roof is gonna be poured solid. Ties the entire house together, kind of gives a consistent structure all the way through it, and make sure that basically nothing crazy happens. So, so you can see here, he's got the concrete in the bucket. Got a little makeshift funnel here. So like I said, all this ties in together, gives a little more structure to the footer. Sometimes if your house is too high up in the air or it has too many courses, they'll actually make you pour everything solid to keep your walls from blowing out. And some people don't do it, some people do it. The minimum that you have to do is all of those dowels. So that's what we're doing. When we go to pour the slab, we may change our mind and pour a little bit more of the stem wall, but at the end of the day, it's pretty stout, and really it's just kind of security, whatever you feel you need to do to make yourself feel better about it. Got a lot of work to do, so we're gonna get after it, and I'll see you when I see you.